Hello, everyone. It has been a crazy week this week, and I felt like I needed to make a new video this week because there was this whole situation of a game of hot potato between Iran and Israel this week and this past week. And before I start with that whole situation and what I think about it, first I want to get back to because my first video was on Bassem Youssef, and one of the comments suggested I take a look at this interview, and from the very first moment I felt like I should talk about it. So first of all, let's hear these few words, then I will talk about it.
If you were the Prime Minister of Israel on October 8th, what would you do?
If I'm the Prime Minister of Israel like Netanyahu, I'm a killer, I'm a mass murderer, I've been killing Palestinians all my life, and I've absolutely had no pushback, so I would kill.
What should Israel have done, in your opinion? That's all I'm asking.
Not this.
But why are you arguing with other people who are not here?
But no, but the argument
Just
is
talk
crazy.
to me.
When I tell you not this, so tell me, so what? As if I have to come up with a solution. The Israeli government.
Well, Mr. Bassem, that's why you do not put yourself in the forefront of a situation like this, because Mr. Constantine here is actually a very good debater, and he knows what he's doing, and he knows how to talk to people. So you drop the ball from the very start by putting yourself in a situation that you were not prepared for, and I'm not surprised that you're not prepared for, because this isn't the first time you were asked this question. You were asked this question before when you were on Valuetainment. I'm not sure if it's in the here. When he was in the debate not really a debate, the little podcast they did on Valuetainment, and he was asked that very same question, and he gave the very same answer. You cannot just ignore or bypass such questions. You have to be able to actually answer such questions. And since this isn't the first time you were asked that question, then your inability to answer really has no excuses. So allow me to answer that question for you. First of all, if you were the Prime Minister on October 7th when it happened, you would not be the Prime Minister on October 8th. After that, the very first thing that should have happened was obviously a change in government, because clearly that government has blundered extremely. And I realize this isn't something that is easy to implement, but obviously something like that, in order for that to happen, that's a great failure and a blunder, and that government should not be in power anymore. And apparently people in Israel do agree with that point of view, but they are unable to do it because Benjamin Netanyahu very intelligently started a war to keep himself in power. So that's what happened. So in any other case, if it wasn't such an extremist like Benjamin Netanyahu, it wouldn't have happened in the first place, because first of all, there would be a change in power, but it wouldn't have happened in the first place, because if you weren't an extremist, crazy person like Benjamin Netanyahu, decades ago, the problem would have been resolved by having a two-state solution. A two-state solution that the United States basically vetoed last night, because one of the very first steps is to actually have two states. And the United States did not want the second state to even have a UN membership, even though that's the very first step, one of the very first steps. So one of the best solutions was to actually to have it happen decades ago by not being a bunch of dicks, and to actually give Palestinians what they want, which is their own state, and actually not just what they want, what they deserve. But let's talk about October 7th itself. First of all, it happened. Okay, it happened. And the same government now has to deal with that situation. First of all, you have a lot of security issues that you have to resolve, so you need to work on those first. And in order to restore, and I'm playing the devil's advocate here, and in order to restore the people's faith in their security forces, you need to do some sort of retaliation. But mass bombings isn't gonna do shit. Isn't gonna do jack shit. Because realistically speaking, let's talk here. These people are in tunnels. You know they're in tunnels. All of the bombings are actually gonna hit civilians. You know that for a fact because that's what's gonna happen. Bombs are not. The current technology wouldn't be able to go 50 meters below ground. Some missiles would be able to do that, but how much damage would be actually be done isn't worth the whole situation. Isn't worth bombing. Bombings don't do shit. They've done it before. They don't do shit. And to his credit, Basim has mentioned that before. That's exactly, you have done the whole bombing shenanigans before. What has it achieved? Absolutely nothing. So what you need to do is to do some limited precision military action using your assets on the ground. What you need is to be able to put people in the ground that would do specific military targets, that would momentarily restore some faith in the security forces. But what would resolve the situation even better is that you actually engage in actual negotiations, because the Palestinians are asking for the sun and moon here. Not the Palestinians, let's talk that it is Hamas that's doing the negotiations. So Hamas are not asking for the sun and moon here. What they are asking for is your prisoners for my prisoners. And if you just want to act tough, you can just do these, like I said, the limited military action, boots on the ground, because the best solution at the end of the day is the long game, not the short-sighted game of a wounded animal who's trying to kill everyone in his path. The best solution is to actually do the same thing the British eventually did in Ireland by having an independent Irish state. That was the solution. They did not win by killing every IRA member, because that didn't happen. The IRA still existed, and the IRA dissolved themselves once actual real peace talks that actually did something happened. So there you go. That's what you should have done. It's a win-win-win-win. You win either way. Sure, there will be some disgruntled voices here and there, but I mean, at the end of the day, it wasn't your territory that was hit in October 7th anyway, because this is actually Palestinian territory according to UN resolutions. Because according to UN resolutions by the 1967 borders, these are Palestinian lands. These are not yours. The envelope of Gaza that was hit on October 7th is actually Palestinian territory. So it was the Palestinian government, because Hamas is actually the recognized government in Gaza, acting on their borders against illegal aliens who are building illegal settlements on their land. You cannot build illegal settlements and expect people to sit down and just take it. The best thing you should have done decades ago was simply to follow the UN resolution, have a two-state solution, and simply just don't be a dick and do not build on other people's territory. That would resolve the situation. But none of that was done. None of it. Nothing. Absolutely nada. Even though we know for a fact that it worked before historically. Just don't be a dick. Let people have their freedoms and rights, and everything will resolve itself naturally over time. That was it. That's the solution. That's what you should have done. That's what people like Barghouti, when they go on Piers Morgan show and actually provide us such solution. Just end the occupation, make a two-state solution, and eventually they would have to be dissolved, because there would be no need for a military conflict anymore. That's it. So that's my answer for that whole situation. That's why I was telling that Mr. Basim should not put himself in those situations, because he's not up for that debate. He's not ready for it. Now, considering Palestinian prisoners and such. Most of them are, a lot of them are children, and many actually were held without trial, and there are thousands of children, thousands of women who are being held in prisons by martial courts and stuff like that, which is like messed up. So completely messed up. Uh, Also, when it comes to that's the whole situation when it comes to that debate. Now, moving on about the whole Iran and Israel game of hot potato, where they keep hitting each other and them pretending, the whole thing is simply a game by Israel, by Netanyahu's government, trying to provoke Iran into a response, some sort of response, in order for him to garner more support from his people, because nothing will get people together like an existential external threat. And yeah, from my perspective and from Egypt's perspective, nobody likes Iran in Egypt, at least not many people. Now, do we wish for bad for Iran? For Iran, no, no, no. But we do not like them or respect them, because they did commit atrocities in Syria, and Egypt has many Syrian refugees. And we know of the atrocities committed there, where children were buried under rubble by explosive barrels, and of course Russia is participating in these crimes as well. But Iran has been the most active support of the Bashar al-Assad regime, and nobody likes that. Nobody likes that. So it's not like Iran is any better from Israel. Actually, both of them are, psychopaths who want to commit war on a large scale. Because, and if you don't believe me, just look up a Greater Israel, and here is a video of a governmental entity, a finance minister. That's a governmental entity, not just some random citizen, with a map that actually contains the territory that isn't even the Holy Land, which they claim to be theirs. No, 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 no. They're going to is a project to colonize the whole of the Middle East. And from the Egyptian perspective, they try to take Sinai from us on multiple occasions, and they attacked us twice. They attacked Egypt twice in 56 and 67. They were the instigators in both occasions. In 1948, Egypt only participated to defend the Palestinians, because there was no one to defend the Palestinians. And that army was obviously defeated, because it wasn't really an army, because Egypt was under the British occupation at the time. They didn't have an army. These were forces that were, developed at a rush to aid in fighting the Nazis in the Second World War. And these were mostly support units. They weren't the best equipped or they have the best training, so they lost horribly, and the Nakba happened. And you will notice that I say the Zionists, because we don't actually have a problem with Jews in particular, because Jews actually existed in Egypt for a very long time. There are many Jewish temples that are still in Egypt, and most of the Jewish Egyptians actually left on their own accord, way before the conflict happened in 48. Many of them were still in Egypt. Actually, there were still Jews even still in Egypt after 56 and in 67. But by the time that war, the conflict got too hot, and they just left. We didn't stop them. We didn't do anything to them. Just we let them have what they want. So it isn't because we, for Arabs and Muslims in general. We've always had Jews and the Christians living with us. This was never a problem. This was never a problem before 1948. This was never, historically speaking, this was not a problem that we had. It was actually the Europeans who massacred Jews on a large scale. So what is happening right now from the Egyptian perspective, we perceive it as not only just an existential threat, but actually as treason. The whole situation feels like treason because we sheltered you, we protected you. The Europeans were treating you like shit. We gave you shelter, we gave you a home, we treated you like our own. And what did we get for it? Betrayal. We were betrayed and stabbed in the back. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at
כל
this.
יום אנחנו באים לעזה, אנחנו באים ללבנון, אנחנו נבוא לאיראן, אנחנו נבוא לכל מקום. תביאו בחשבון כמה אנחנו הולכים להרוג מכם וכמה אנחנו הולכים לבצע בכם על כל אחד מ-1,300 האנשים שרצחתם, שדדתם. לא ראיתם מספרים כאלה בדברי ימי האומה הערבית. אני מעדכן אתכם שזה בא. למקרה שאתם מבולבלים, אני מעדכן אתכם שזה בא. מספרים שלא דמיינתם שאפשר בכלל להגיע אליהם. ואנחנו מוכנים להיכנס לבידוד בינלאומי, ומוכנים לריב עם ארצות הברית, ומוכנים לריב עם כל העולם ואחותו. כמה שנצטרך עד שכולכם, כולל כל התומכים שלכם, תעלו לפגוש את אללה, אנחנו נהרוג. שיהיה ברור, שיהיה ברור, זה המצב בישראל, זה הסנטימנט. אז תחגגו ברשתות החברתיות, תעשו פרי פלסטיין, תעשו את כל המסכנות שלכם, ואנחנו נבוא להשמיד אתכם. להשמיד. להשמיד. תעבירו את זה, תריצו את הסרטון הזה, שיראו כל החברים שלכם, מה אנחנו עומדים לעשות לכם.
So, as you can see, complete deranged psychopaths. And like I said, the Iranians are not much different. But the Iranians are different in the way that they don't actually want a war. The Israelis want a war because it's the only way the current government would stay in power. But Iran is more than happy to just hang back and play this game of hot potato and let Israel cannibalize itself because Israel is actually actively losing the war. They're not winning. They're definitely not winning. They are committing all the slaughter that they did, just like the French did before, and every colonial power, just like the French did before in Algiers. They killed over 1 million people in the Algerian War of Independence, what did they get for it? Absolutely nothing. Just barbarism and murder, and nothing to show for it. And in the end, the Algerian people won their freedom. I mean, colonialism is just it's such a bygone era product that should not have continued into the modern era at all, and actually should not have existed in the first place. But it did exist, and just it should end. It should end. So when it comes to Iran, I think Iran will just hang back and just let play this whole retaliation game, because they gain nothing by actually going into conflict. They want to focus more on building their influence, and this is what this is about for Iran. Iran, it's not doing that out of pure heartedness. They're doing this because they actually will fight anyone, not just Israel, anyone who will undermine their influence in the region, because that's what this is about. They want to gain more influence in the region and get more power and resources. So that's what they will do. They will just maintain their resources and try to stay away from a conflict, to focus on expanding and gaining more allies and money and all that kind of stuff, and to advance themselves. Meanwhile, Israel is acting like deranged maniacs, because that's what they are. The Zionists, and I'm not saying every single Jew in the whole region just wants that. Sure, they haven't been acting like decent human beings, but I cannot judge every single person that exists in a specific region. However, I can judge these their governments, and their government is acting like deranged psychopath. Their army is acting like deranged psychopath, and they will themselves cannibalize Israel. Israel is going to end because of these policies that they are doing, and I think they know that. I think they know it, and I think that what they are trying to do right now is to trying to see how much damage they can do to everyone around them, because if they are going down, they're not going to go down on their own. That's their mindset, and it's a very dangerous mindset. They're trying to set fire to the Middle East basically, because they know they're finished. They lost support from everyone, and everyone now is fully aware of the atrocities and injustice that they commit. Colonialism couldn't have survived anyway in the age of technology, because now anyone can get their hands on the news and information, and that freedom of information has ended Israel, and they know it. And I think that the whole point right now is just trying to set fire to the Middle East and trying to drag everyone with them. Um, so that's what I think about the whole Iran-Israel situation. And at the start of the video, that's what I was talking about. That's exactly what I was talking about in the earlier video when it came to Bassem Youssef. Please do yourself a favor, do everyone else a favor. Either prepare, since you put yourself in that situation, either be prepared or step aside. Please, this isn't a game. This isn't a situation. You're doing the very same mistake you did in Egypt again. If you truly believe that you are not the person qualified to be talking politics, then don't talk politics, Mr. Bassem, Dr. Bassem, whichever you prefer. Please, do everyone a favor and either be prepared and actually take this seriously, or just step aside and let other people with more knowledge and the ability to analyze such sensitive political issues a chance to speak. Like as I mentioned, like Mr. Barghouti is doing really good job. There were others who were able, who are much more qualified than anyone else to talk about this situation, like Mr. Hussam Zomlut as well. But these are these people. That's their job. That's what they do. I think the Palestinians are the best people to speak for themselves. You're Egyptian. You could not even speak for Egypt. What the hell makes you think you're good enough to speak for Palestine? And I'm not talking about your feelings in the situation. We all have feelings in the situation. I'm making videos about it too, and I'm not saying that you should not talk about it, period. I'm just saying, if you're not prepared or qualified to do it, please step aside, or at least be prepared. That's it. That's all I'm asking. That's all anyone can ask for, and I think that that's the that will be it for this video. I don't want to take too long. I don't know how many times will I or in what frequency will I be able to make these videos. So I hope this video was useful, and I hope people have gained some knowledge from that information. I try to be thorough as much as possible in every thing I talk about, and I hope you have a good one. Thank you.